What's the first thing you realized after moving out of your parents' home? How beautiful the double-edged sword of freedom is. You can do whatever you want, but you have no safety net. If you don't manage everything, your life will happily run itself off the rails in a ton of tiny, insidious ways. Yep, it's crazy how quickly crap hits the fan sometimes. Since leaving home, I have a whole new respect for my parents. Life's hard. That I finally had no one to explain myself to. I want to go out at 2 AM. Just walk out the door. I came home at 4 AM. Just walk in the door. I come home drunk with my own puke all over myself. Just go in the toilet and question my existence while I clean up. Basically what I was going to say, except with the ending that you finally realize that it's nice to go to work school not tired after you have no reason to stay out late and avoid your parents. Chicken doesn't have to be dry. Spaghetti sauce doesn't have to come from a can. Love my folks but they aren't chefs by any means. My mom thinks chicken that is even a little juicy is raw and makes me burn her piece to perfection. It's so annoying. Whoa, it's super easy to get fat. Opposite here. I did not realize how easy it is to forget about mealtimes without someone asking if you ate. That I wasn't the messy one. When the person you're living with makes no effort to keep a place tidy, there's no incentive for you to either. You're either picking up two people's messes, or picking up your own, but still feeling like it's always messy. So what's the point? After I moved out, my apartment never has clutter, never has dishes in the sink, gets vacuumed regularly, etc. My mom's house on the other hand is still a disaster. People really scared me about bills. Oh, you're going to have to pay bills every month and it'll be the worst. Sure, it's not super nice having to take my money and give it to various people at regular intervals, but it's not stressful. Living with my parents was way more stressful than paying bills has ever been. Bills are only stressful if you are living beyond your means. It's nice being able to jerk off with sound. A small thing, but I have two younger brothers who were always quite greedy and selfish with food. My mum would buy a limited amount of snack food and once it was gone, until the next big food shop. My brothers would dive in like locusts and eat all of the crisps, chocolate, ice cream or whatever and leave nothing for me. It's been 10 years since I moved out and I never stop being happy that the chocolate I bought a week ago and I'm looking forward to after work is still there when I get home. It's nice having control over your own stuff. I have 5 siblings, so my when I grow up fantasy was literally to buy a bag of Sun Chips and eat the entire thing by myself. It took me a year after moving out of my parents' house to do it. I think on some level I was still convinced it would disappear. It's so freaking quiet. The first night I looked up at my ceiling and I actually had silence. I was so happy it was hard to sleep that night. Yes, you can have this magnificent absolute silence whenever you want. Most of the habits you have are actually your parents' habits they passed on to you. I also noticed that not everyone who moves out of their parents' house realize this. My wife and I argue frequently, though not in a serious way, that the other loads the dishwasher wrong because our parents had different dishwasher habits. I choose who I'll let come over. This is big. I hated most of my brother's friends, and most of the people I live with. Mom's fiance and his kids' grandkids irritated the pee out of me. Now it's just me and whoever I invite over. It's beautiful. I can't afford all those extra things I usually throw in my parents' grocery trolley. And how expensive the essentials like toilet paper and dish soap add up to be. And how it's a chore in itself remembering to write them on the list and actually purchase them. It's easy to think you're doing super well with money before you start paying for incidentals and household stuff. That the dish fairy didn't move in with me. You'll soon realize that the dish fairy was inside you all along. The ghost sounds that I was hearing all the time was my parents hooking up. Boo. God dang, I miss my dad. God dang, am I glad to be away from my mother. I can bring boys into the house. Hey, it's me, a boy. That I actually don't mind a little bit of order in my house. I hear you, nothing like coming home to no surprises. It's so goddamn quiet, gloriously quiet. I laid on the floor of my empty apartment living room like oh my yes. That everything costs money, rent costs money, council tax costs money, Heat costs money, water costs money, electricity costs money, groceries cost money, petrol costs money, maintenance costs money, TV license costs money, just living costs money. I was in no way spoiled or sheltered when I was growing up, but even I shocked by the expense of everything. I dread to think how much my parents must have been spending every month just to keep a family of 5 alive. Makes me appreciate them even more, and I feel awful about when I used to moan about not having stuff when I was growing up. How much they actually took care of. These suckers own a house, cabin, a condo and manage every single bill they have while working more than full-time jobs. The kicker? They still have free time. Like WTF parents, I can barely make breakfast and be out the door on time. Yet y'all's just made a 5-course breakfast and have finished half your emails in the same time. It made me appreciate how dang efficient they were with their time. Apparently it's supposed to get easier, but I hear the same thing about running and that's still awful. I can eat whatever I want, for every meal, of every day. That freedom from someone else dictating your life is absolutely worth all the other responsibilities that go with living on your own. It's not even close. That I can make a sandwich at 3 AM and no one can be mad at me. It was liberating. The amount of peace and mental fatigue that got lifted off my shoulders. Felt like I couldn't do anything at home without being judged. I don't really need to eat. Who would bother? What is dinner? There are times where I'll be playing a game and then realizing that 3 hours ago I said, I'll eat in a bit. FFXV was torture because I'd be hungry, camp in game, see the food that Ignis would cook, and then get caught up doing something after the camp scene before I got a bite to eat. How much groceries actually costs? The house needed a lot of day-to-day supplies, so the first few shopping trips were insanely expensive. Things like cooking oils, flour, sugar, saran wrap, tinfoil, garbage bags, mops, brooms, plungers, flashlights, etc. You don't really realize how many things you need on hand when you already had them for years. Food didn't magically appear in my fridge. Also, personal space and freedom. One of the first days in my apartment, I dropped food on the floor and instinctively called the dog over to clean it up. Didn't have a dog anymore. That is why I got one for my place. Also helps to not feel as lonely. That I had made a huge mistake. However, I could sit as close to the TV as I wanted and stand there with the refrigerator door open and cool the whole neighborhood. I'm all alone and can do whatever I want, whenever I want. Living alone, everything in the fridge spoils so fast. Cooking huge portions is awesome. It's relatively cheap and makes for really easy dinners throughout the week. Yeah, I load up the crock pot, go to work, come home to dinner and have portions to freeze. When I lived at my mom's, I had to ask for permission to shower. When I moved out, I would ask my roommate if I could shower. It wasn't until a couple months of living together that she told me I didn't have to ask and I could just shower. I had no idea it was a weird thing to ask permission for, that and a lot of other things. There was a reason my dad was so crazy about what the thermostat was set to. That crap gets expensive. Toilet paper doesn't just magically appear in the cupboard. You actually have to remember to go buy it. That the real world is easy. I was 18 when I moved out. I had already been paying for my car and car insurance, health insurance and taking care of myself, clothes, food, dog, financially for years because my mom was incapable of taking care of herself hardly, let alone her daughter. I've always been the one to cook and clean and budget money and take care of myself and others. My family would ask how it is to not live with my mom and living on my own, asking if it was a huge shock or anything like that. Other than having less spending money, it was the exactly same as living with my alcoholic hardly home mother. My childhood might have been heck, but I grew up fast and was able to migrate to living on my own and adulthood seamlessly. If she's not proud of you, I'm proud of you. You grew up strong. Keep on keeping on. That being an adult is way less scary than it was made out to be. It isn't normal to spend a whole 12 hours day once a week going over finances. It isn't normal for it to take 2 months to resolve a phone call with a company. Cleaning the house shouldn't take a whole week. Driving isn't that bad. My mom made me terrified to be an adult and now I'm handling it just freaking fine. I'm really peed at how anxious she made me. My parents were chain smokers. My whole life I lived in a smoke-filled house. That first time I came back home from college, I was hit with a wave of stale cigarette smoke. I realized two things. Cigarette smoke smells like butt, and I figured out why I grew up with pretty non-stop allergies and asthma. Why anyone would willfully fill their house with that crap is beyond my understanding. Toilet paper that doesn't feel like sandpaper is too expensive. Buy cheap ketchup, the cheap bread, store brand Advil, whatever. You do not go cheap with the toilet paper. Dust is real, very real. When I set down something it's where I left it when I go to get it later. I had a free ride all my life until moving out. That cleaning isn't such a chore as parents make it out to be. I clean one day a week on a Saturday for about 3 hours and that's it. Everything is done. I just make sure to clean up after myself as best I can. Sometimes, I'll admit, I'll leave that thing out on my coffee table for a while, or leave dirty clothes near my laundry basket, but not quite get it in, but it's no biggie, small messes here and there. Still in the end, just a few hours on a Saturday to vacuum, Clorox, Windex, and Lysol everything, and it's clean for another week. I realized that most of the messes my parents would complain about were ones that they made themselves that got out of control and then they would pin it on me to help clean it up. Now, everything is clean. No one nags for it to be cleaner since it's already spotless, and it's wonderful. That not everything needs to be immediate. Growing up, if my parents told me to do something, they meant now. Dishes needed to be done now. Trash needs to be done now. Lawn needs to be mowed now. When I moved out, most adults in my life assumed it would go to crap because I seemed lazy, but really it just let me do what I needed to at my own pace instead. Dishes can sit a day or two. Trash can wait a bit. Not everything is an emergency. I can pee with the door open. It's a way of life now. That I didn't have to account for all my comings and goings, report where I was and when I'd be back. And when I came home, I didn't have that pit in my stomach that I had at my parents' house, knowing I would no longer be interrogated and criticized for whatever I was doing. I knew my parents were controlling and abusive, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I left. The best decision ever. This is the goodest fly boy. He will bring you 10 years of happiness in exchange for a like on this video. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.